A draft of uncertainties, in a draft where a lot of people are not entirely sure who the stars, who the superstars are going to be, in a draft that is considered the worst draft since 2013, and that draft sucked. There's only one thing that's a certainty, and it's that the number one pick should be Zachary Risacher. Zachary Risacher is continuing to ball. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are less than 100 subscribers away from 4,000. And if we could hit that somehow by the end of today, that would be unbelievable, lads. He is absolutely continuing to ball. Like, look, I get it. His team is down 2-1 in the playoffs. They lost by 4 points yesterday. Again, was the best player on his team. And they're playing Monaco. Like, if you guys don't understand, in, like, the Pro A, is the equivalent of, like, Monaco are just so much better than everybody else. As far as, like, just how much money they have. They're a EuroLeague team. They're able to have Mike James in their team. They've got Strazel. They've got bodies. They're so good. Sure, half their team are former NBA players or guys who were NBA prospects at one stage. They are a level above. But Zachary Risacher is going and hooping against them. He's averaging like 20 points a game in the final or in the semifinals. And not only that, like, he is doing it on not terrible shooting, and his team are doing very, very well. They won a game against Monaco. Like, if they somehow win that series, it'll be the upset of all upsets. Like, he is having a equally as good playoffs in the Pro A as Victor Wembanyama had this year, or had last year. He's having equally as good a playoffs in the Pro A as him. Is he going to be Victor? Of course he's not going to be Victor. Victor is a unicorn. But if you want to talk about pure output, his output right now is very similar to what Victor's was last year. And that is so impressive for a young player. That is incredibly impressive. And again, there's a reason why he is going up to number one in draft boards, because that fool, Mr. Fool's Gold, Alex Sarr. Did you guys hear his last interview? He wants to have a rookie year like Wemby. He wants to have a rookie year like Wemby. Wemby was the MVP of the Pro A. Wemby was the MVP of the third best pro league in the world. Alex Sarr averaged 9 points a game in the fourth best pro league in the world. Not only that, like Zachary Risacher averaged very similar points in the Pro A to Alex Sarr. Did what he did in the NBL. Except Zachary Risacher has stepped up big time in the playoffs. While he wasn't MVP like Victor, he has stepped up in the playoffs, and that has to count for something. Like, when we talk about mentality, we want players that, like, we know will be able to step up. We want players that work. Yeah, maybe get the player that has stepped up in the playoffs of a much tougher competition. The amount of people that get drafted or have their stock shoot up because they play in the tournament, because people are like, oh yeah, you know what, they can play in big games. Man, Risacher is doing it at a much higher level. Like, Risacher is doing it against a Monaco team that would have destroyed UConn. And he's been the best player. He's been the best player on the floor. So, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. And there are so many red flags around Alex Sarr. It's not that he's a bad player by any means. By red flags around Alex Sarr, there's red flags around taking him at number one, in my opinion. Like, if you come up through the French basketball system and your choice is to go to overtime elite and then Australia, when in your back door you've got the Pro A, especially if you are going down the pro route, for me, that just doesn't make any sense. As far as the impact goes, when he played with France last summer, Alex Sarr wasn't great. Like, I'll admit that, like, France were really good. Alex Sarr was okay. And I will very much say the word okay to describe him. He was fine. Like, there was no major flaws or anything. But, like, he was fine. And in 2023, I'm just looking at this right now, he genuinely was on the All-OTE second team. He didn't even make the All-OTE first team. Like, the man's fool's gold. I'm sorry, he's fool's gold. I know he had a nice game against the Ignite. The Ignite sucked. I know he looks like he should be a player, but man, every one of his measurables, like, he's testing worse than Khalil Ware. He's fool's gold. And could Alex Sarr, again, if everything clicks for Alex Sarr, could he be the best player in the draft? Yes. But you're not if you're Atlanta. Not if you're Atlanta. You need someone that's going to help you win right now. And Sarr is not that. He's just not that. Like, honestly, if you're the Atlanta Hawks and you need someone to win right now, go and find some weird roundabout way to get a bunch of picks and go and take Zach Edey. Zach Edey will help the Hawks right now more than Alex Sarr will. Like, and that's not me saying Zach Edey should be the one pick. That's just me saying Alex Sarr is not ready to play in the NBA. He's just not. He's just not. And he's out here talking about how he wants to have a Wembanyama like impact as a rookie. Man, he's a project player. He's literally a project player talking about wanting to be one of the top 5 rookies in my lifetime. And I get it. He's saying all the right things. He's saying all the right things. But you know what? If you're him, like, the best thing you could say in an interview if you're him for the Atlanta Hawks is, I want to come in and show my defense and prove that I can be a part of a winning team. Because the Atlanta Hawks are going to want to win. But again, the timelines just don't match up with Alex Sarr. And I don't think it's going to be any good for Sarr either. Because a project player going to a win-now situation never works. Darko Milicic was a project player. Him going to a win-now situation in Detroit was the worst thing that ever happened to him. If he goes into a situation where he can develop, and he didn't develop a hatred for not only the sport of basketball, but a hatred for the United States, for living in the United States, maybe he could have been a player, because he had all the potential in the world, was put in a bad situation. And putting Alex Sarr in a situation, because development means more than picking the right player, like being able to develop players. Putting Alex Sarr in a situation where he has to be a winner straight away, otherwise he's going to be riding the bench, isn't going to help him. Because again, he's not going to reach his potential sitting on a bench. He's going to be sitting on a bench for Atlanta. And he's going to make rookie mistakes. He's going to make a lot of those mistakes because he's not ready yet. Whereas Reece Shea is going to come in and play. Reece Shea is going to come in and probably start. That's the level of player you're looking at there. And if Atlanta, I genuinely think if they're dead set, I'm going to make another video on this, but if they're dead set on a big man, go and find a way to trade with a desperate team. Trade with a team that's desperate. And by desperate, I mean the Memphis Grizzlies. Get the 9 pick. Get every other pick you can get from Memphis, because I have a weird feeling Memphis aren't going to be as good as people expect. Get everything you can. Fleece Memphis for all you can. Go take Khalil Ware at 9. He's going to be there. Go take him at 9. And Memphis are going to probably panic because they don't think Donovan Clingan is going to be there at 9, and will jump at the chance to get Alex Sarr. Go make that trade. But for the Atlanta Hawks, and by the way, if the Washington Wizards were at the number 1 pick, I would be saying take Alex Sarr, because the Wizards can afford to like trying to nourish a project player. But any other team, but the Atlanta Hawks it's just not a good scenario for them. So if I'm them, I don't do it. If I'm them, Zachary Reece Shea is there. He's continuing to ball. He's continuing to do it. Everything I said in that video a few days ago stands. It's the same video again, sure, but I'm tripling down on Reece Shea because he's continuing to be better and better and better as these playoffs are going on.